Hello and welcome to Mr. Pie, A Journey with Jones. Well, again, I was going to talk to you about Jones. I thought he'd be here in the studio with me today, but he's off out meeting his friend. So we're going to have a video link up with Jones and see how he's getting on. Hi Jones, how are you? Well, they do say, Jones, that if you can't get to sleep, try counting sheep. I tell you what, Jones, give me a few minutes. I'm going to come out to you in a helicopter and then we'll see if we can get something sorted for you. You just stay there for a minute. I won't be that long. See you in a minute, Jones. Okay, Jones, I'm here with you now. You can't see me. I'm up in the sky in a helicopter. Can you hear me? Well, now let's see if we can sort this problem out. Okay, first thing I want you to do, Jones, is see the sheep. They're all over the place. And I'm looking down, I can see a picture of that. They're all over the field. They're in a right mess. First thing I want you to do is, can you tell all the farmers to line up along the side of the field and get their sheep to line up in front of them? Okay, now you've done that, what I want you to do is I want you to tell the last 3 columns of sheep to move into the field in front of them. So you should end up with some in the field that in front of their farmers and some in the field next to that. Great job, Jones, that's perfect. Okay, next job I want you to do now is, can you get them to separate? So get the farmers to separate into 2 groups of 10 in the top field and get the sheep to separate so they're still in front of their farmer. That's a fantastic job, Jones. We're getting somewhere now. Okay, my next job for you is, can you tell the sheep in the big field, in the top field, that I want them to separate. So when they've counted from 1 to 10, the next 10 need to move forward slightly towards the wall. Wow, Jones, anyone would think you'd done this before? That's brilliant. Now let's have a look what you've got there, Jones. Well, can you see that in that top field now, the big field, we've got 4 blocks of sheep, and each of those blocks is 10 sheep across and 10 sheep down. So we all know what 10 times 10 equals, don't we? Yeah, you're right, it's 100. Well, we've got 4 of those, and then in the field to the bottom of that, we've got 4 rows with 10 sheep in each. Well, again, so that means we've got 10 times 4. Well, we know what 4 tens makes, Jones. 4 tens makes 40. And we've got 2 blocks of that. Now we're starting to get there somewhere, Jones. Okay, let's have a look in our last field. At the very far field, we've got 2 lots of 10 rows. And we've got 3 columns in each of those rows. And again, we know what 10 times 3 is. Yeah, 3 lots of 10 is 30. There's 2 blocks of 30. And in the very small field at the bottom, well, we've simply got 3 columns and 4 rows. And 4 lots of 3, well, we know what that is. That's 12. So here you go, Jones. Here's the number of sheep that we've got now in the field. We've got 100, another 100, another 100, another 100, that's 400. Add 40 and 40, that's 80, that's 480. Add 2 lots of 30, that's 540. And add the 12, that's 552. So let's have a look. Well, how does that help us with our maths? Well, if we look at that field and start to put some more numbers onto it, we can see that actually what we've done is we've got 23 sheep and there are 24 farmers. So each of the 24 farmers have brought 23 sheep. And we can see that how this works as a multiplication grid. Let's have a look at this in a bit more detail, Jones, particularly at the 20 times 20 part of the calculation. Do you remember in the past I told you that when we do multiplying we can move the numbers around, they don't have to stay in the order they are. Well, let's have a look at how that works here. We've got 20 times 20. Well, that's the same as 10 times 2 because 20 just means 2 lots of 10. So as you can see here, we've got 10 times 2 and we're multiplying that by 10 times 2 again. But because we can change the order round, we can change that to 2 times 10 times 10 times 2. And then by rearranging again, we can multiply the 2 lots of 10 together. So 10 times 10, well, that's 100. And then that leaves us with 2 times 2, and that's 4. So we've got 100 times 4, or 4 lots of 100. And we can do that with all of them. So as you can see here, Jones, if we move on, we've got the grid, the multiplication grid. Now, when it comes to doing it for yourselves in a book or on paper, you don't need to have the sheep there. You can do it without. So we can just simply have 23 times 24. Okay, so as we've talked about, 20 times 20 is the same as 2 times 2 times 10 times 10. 2 times 2 times 10 times 10. So 2 times 2 is 4 times 10 times 10 gives us 400. Okay, next one. 20 times 3 is 2 times 3 times 10. 2 times 3 times 10. 2 times 3 is 6 times 10 gives us 60. Four times 20 is the same as 4 times 2 times 10. 4 times 2 times 10. 4 times 2 is 8 times 10 gives us 80. And the last one is simply 4 times 3, which is 12. And if we add them across now, 460 is 460. And 80 add 12 is 92. Now if we add these two together, 0 and 2 is 2. 9 and 6 is 15, carry the 1 to the other. 4 and 1 is 5, 552. And there you have it. There is the grid multiplication with the answer 23 times 24 is 552. And we can see that the grid is what explains it. Okay, so Jones and anyone else who's watching, if you find any of that a little bit confusing still, the best thing is to do is just rewind the video and watch it again. And rewind as many times as you like and watch those parts that you found a little bit confusing. But as you can see, the grid multiplication, it's not magic. It's just simply another way of organising the numbers so that we can calculate them much easier. Well, I hope this has been fun for you. I hope it's explained some of the grid method in a bit more of a clear way for you. But remember, just keep practicing. Until next time, bye!